This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to Disabled Persons Assembly's Notable Radio Show. DPA is a systemic advocacy organisation run by and for disabled people. DPA is a pan-impaired organisation with members across the country. Over the next half hour, we'll discover how we can work collaboratively to achieve inclusion for all New Zealanders. DPA's Notable Radio Show, a whole new attitude.
Kia ora and welcome to DPA's Notable Radio. I'm your host, Amy Taylor, Kaituitui or Community Connector for Ōtepoti Dunedin. In today's show, we will be talking to Cyndee Elder, founder of the local tiny homes business, Able Abodes. Able Abodes offers innovative, disability-accessible housing, which is a pretty unique thing for a tiny homes provider. Cyndee is one of our speakers at our upcoming DPA housing workshop on the 15th of July at 10 a.m. at Nations Church in South Dunedin. We'll be chatting all about housing options for disabled people. Hi, Cyndee.
How are you?
Oh, school holidays, it's a rush at the moment, trying to get everything done. And I'm trying to find parking in town in the school holidays is a bit of a nightmare.
It's a bit of a nightmare regardless of whether it's school
well,
holidays
that's
or
true.
not.
Anyway, we're here now. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your background? What motivated you to found Able Abodes?
Well, I'm just a citizen. I didn't come into this as a builder or a developer or anything like that. I came into this because I was stuck, trapped by systems that weren't, that are made to help, but they only seemed to hold me back. And it was like to be made to feel like asking for a safe, stable home was asking for well too much. So Able Abodes was born from that frustration, but also from hope. Just hope that we can design better, build differently, and prioritise people. I didn't want to just talk about the housing crisis. I wanted to build something that challenged it, that helped do that mind shift.
And we do have a housing crisis. It's something that we can't really deny. Much of our housing stock in Dunedin is old and cold and far too expensive for what folks have, especially those living on low income or beneficiaries. So what does Able Abodes offer?
Well, more than just the house. We haven't just stopped at the house. We offer a shift in thinking. We build small, high-quality homes that actually are attainable, adaptable and anchored in the people's lives. Not everyone wants or needs a 200-metre squared house with a mortgage that swallows them whole. So Able Abodes is about right-sizing without the compromising. We're working to remove the financial and physical barriers that stop people from having a place to call their own. Because when we say housing, we, Able Abodes, mean a home. That sacred, stabilising foundation that everyone deserves.
Oh, isn't that a wonderful thing to aspire to? So when we think of a wheelchair-accessible tiny home, that's a bit of a funny concept to me because we think, wheelchair users require a lot of space. And it's a bit odd to get my head around. Can you tell us about your disability-accessible designs?
So I've sort of moved away from the label of tiny homes because what we build doesn't, it doesn't fill the stereotype. These are small homes that we build, but we started a 54-metre squared and designed from the ground up with universal access in mind. So that means no steps, wide turning spaces, strong handrails, accessible wet rooms, smart storage, visual contrast and intuitive layouts. Accessibility isn't an add-on. It's our starting point. And it's not just about disability for us either. It's about designing homes that work for people across all life stages and situations. You've got someone that needs the ramp for access for their wheelchair. But a mother with a pram and 2 armfuls of groceries also need ease of access. Just turning circles. I might break my leg tomorrow. There's 8 weeks that I'm going to be in a wheelchair. I mean, our homes, we really need to start thinking about, instead of it being a product, being a way of life. I mean, we're now starting to seep into, corporate buildings doing Zen rooms and that. That should be your home. That should be your home, where you're going home to respite, reset, just get yourself together. It's more than just a structure.
Gosh, can you come and put all these things in place in my home, please? One of the things that you aim to address is the lack of affordable housing for low-income earners and those on benefits. Can you tell us how Able Abodes achieves this?
Well, from what I've been noticing, affordability is being rolled out as in the cheapest option. Well, that's not the case at all. That does make it more affordable for builders and suppliers, yes, but still not people wanting to get into them, as you said. So it's, for me, it's about what's obtainable without compromise. So the home shouldn't just cost less up front. Ours will also cost less to live in, maintain and adapt. So again, your home, you build your structure, and then life changes. All of a sudden, you're either faced with uplifting and moving away, or, for example, it seems we're talking about disability, you move to a new address or a new location, that house has to come in and be retrofitted. So there's a huge cost.
Massive costs to achieve
and if you're doing that 4 or 5 times in a person's lifespan,
and that's what you're doing with rentals, and even more often, people are moving every year if they're living in rental accommodation.
Exactly, whether it's job changes, life situations. So I think, again, coming back to that, but what we want to do is connect with, partner with others, and we've started on the train of ethical finance options, shared land use and new placement models, so that people on the benefits of the low incomes or any form of government support, because let's face it, beneficiaries are not a race of people. It is a source of income. Okay,
it's funny how people talk about it as if it was. It's like, ridiculous, isn't it?
It's just a source of income. And I think that at the end of the day, it's also quite more security over a working wage, because tomorrow you could wake up and your company's in liquidation and
you can't pay your $1 million mortgage. Surprise.
Exactly. Well, you can't even pay your 150k mortgage. So, so I mean, we need to start. It's about that mind shift. And from what I also see is money has become something that we accumulate and measure our success on, when in fact that's actually causing the problem, because money's purpose is exchange. So when it just sits there, it's just a piece of paper.
It's not doing a great deal, is it?
It's not doing its purpose. It's not serving its purpose. And I do believe that housing has become gatekept. And I'd like to change that.
Well, again, a really, really fine aspirations you have, and that's very admirable. So my next question is, if I was to purchase an Able Abodes house, where do I put it?
Okay, so we're still working out the logistics around the land use, because land use is a huge barrier. I mean, you've got different types of foundations relating to what sort of house it is. Then you've got all your geotech. You've got all of this other nonsense that goes. Well, it's not nonsense, because I do understand why it's there. But should it be on the consumer?
It's a very difficult position. We're currently trying to put in a concrete pad so that I can actually get from my car to the house without having to drive over mud. And the ins and outs of what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do are absolutely, I feel like I could have a degree in it.
Exactly that. So, land use is a big barrier, but it's also a big opportunity. I mean, we're hoping again to collaborate, because we can't do it by ourselves. No one is going to be able to do it by. No one is going to be able to do it by themselves. It's not going to fix. I can't do it. No one on their own can do it. So we want a partnership with iwi, trusts, and private landholders. And that's where it sort of joins together. And everyone, again, creating an ecosystem, not a, what would you use? Just, production. Sort of like a beehive. The bees, they contribute in return for living security. If they didn't contribute, they wouldn't have their living security. So it's more about, again, shifting that financial stigma of where your money comes from, how you spend your money, and, at the end of the day, if you're paying $5.50 rent, you can afford a mortgage.
Oh, yes. This is a barrier for many people in the on lower incomes and disabled people, is this idea that if you have this huge rental costs and you are meeting your rental costs every single week, that actually is a mortgage. But yeah, banks don't see that actually government incomes like benefits are a pretty secure form of income.
It very much is, and I think this really does need to be a shift, because there is a certain people that have no other option of income. That's certainly the case for many people in our community, unfortunately. And there's also a big difference since COVID too, because of course so many professionals lost their jobs, and we're still feeling the effects of it. So now you've got a beneficiary that's been out looking for jobs, but now they're up against a nurse. It's not just, and realistically, who is that business operator going to take? A qualified nurse, or someone that's trying to get themselves out and doesn't have those qualifications, doesn't have that work ethic background, has none of that. But then I have to ask you a question, how are they supposed to obtain it?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to uplift people out of those situations.
It very much is.
Well, I think we're going to have to move on,
yes,
because time is ticking along. It's lovely to have these chats. Sometimes it can just be so organic that actually the time just goes along without actually sort of having to have as much structure as you might think you'd have to.
Once you get over the initial 10-minute nerves.
Oh, that's true. I guess I do this every second week, so the nerves but certainly when I started, I was very, very nervous. We need to talk a bit about our population in New Zealand. We have an ageing population in New Zealand, and many older people have accessibility issues. What is Able Abodes' take on that situation?
Oh, well, I fully believe an ageing in place should be a right. It's not a privilege. Too many older adults are isolated in homes that they can't maintain or access safely. So again, coming back to our initial design, that makes staying put safe, dignified and practical. And I mean, that serves more than just older people. It also serves their caregivers, multi-generational whānau, and anyone facing temporary or permanent physical change. I mean, it's about honouring life's transitions, not fearing them. And I mean, anyone at any stage of their life could find themselves in that position.
Absolutely, and we've talked about it before, this sort of like having a universal design space that suits everybody, benefits everybody at every stage of their lives.
Yeah, so what I did there was cross-sector reference. So, for example, handrails. They are not just mobility and accessibility.
That's so ugly is my bugbear about
And that's the
that.
other thing which I have to state about our design. That is one thing that I have noticed in the disability sector and the ageing sector is the clinical feel of it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, there is some really nice stuff out there that doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
Gosh, tell me about it. I've looked, and we're trying to redo our bathroom so it's a little bit more accessible for me. And the builders come in and they've got they get their van out and they come in with their bars, and it's like, this is what we put in for disabled people. Oh, I don't want that in my house. That's hideous.
And that's exactly it. It's not a choice. These things are not because we want them to look nice, but why shouldn't they?
Hey.
Like, this is your home.
Exactly.
And why should you be set back from that? Like, just having nice stuff.
Yeah, it's for my mental health as well. I don't want to feel like I'm in a hospital the whole time. It's my
you're probably
home.
going to spend more than
hospital.
enough time in the hospital without, coming home to it as well. And that was one thing that I very much did set out to change, was that clinical appearance of disability living or impairments in general.
So, Able Abodes has some incredibly practical solutions for housing. Can you tell us about investment opportunities that Able Abodes offers?
Okay, so obviously when you're starting anything new, there's some skepticism, there's some
I was skeptical. I was really skeptical initially, but Cyndee has actually really shown me that this is a workable solution.
It is. And I mean, it's all about just looking around too, because I think that's also the way when you find something that works, it stays in that capacity. So, and I find that we're very scared almost as a country to try new. Like, it's all about data and statistics. Well, what are we actually compiling this information for? Because we're really only compiling information for the problem. How are we supposed to gather data for a solution if no one's trying? So I'm not going out on the market as I'm selling houses and they're the best. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to invite people to invest what they feel they can contribute. It's an investment in change. And I mean, if you believe that housing serves people first, well, that's who we want to hear from. I'm exploring impact investment, ethical partnerships and co-development models. And everything we do is rooted in the person, the equity, not the profit. I'm actually just changing over to a charitable status and not a limited liability company. Just again to put that at the forefront that I am housing and people first. So we're wanting to find partners who don't just write checks. They write themselves. I want people that can write themselves into this story, into this change. So I mean, there's different ways that you can contribute: time, support, obviously financial.
Obviously money.
Obviously financial is right up there. But again, if we've got a collaboration of resources, then we don't need the upfront funding.
So if you're a tradie who's got some skills and some time,
got some spare resources, some donations, just some community collaboration. I don't want this. It's not just all about me. I came from a place. This is what I need to get through the system. And, I know other people's situations are all very different, but the bottom line is we need to work on the obtainment and maintainment, not the affordability of the product that we are selling.
Thank you, Cyndee, for some fabulous kōrero on housing. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
We've got the websites, social media.
So you just want to go and search up Able Abodes, don't you?
Out and about. Contact me, 027 802 9230. And just give us a chat and I'll answer your questions. Also, I will be speaking at the DPA workshop on July the 15th in South Dunedin. But please don't just come to listen. Come with your doubts, your questions and your challenges, because this is what we need to get things moving.
I can assure you people will, because they do. So be prepared for that. We have got some fabulous skeptics in our community, and that's great. They're full of questions, and they want answers and they want practical solutions because they are suffering. Accessible housing is a massive issue for our community, and it's wonderful to see people like you attempting to address this problem. So thank you very much, Cyndee, for joining us today. We'll finish there. This has been DPA's Notable Radio. I'm your host, Amy Taylor. Thank you.
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.